Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. So in today's webinar, we're going to be talking about providing next-gen workspaces with Citrix and Microsoft. So to give you a bit of an overview of the agenda for today, we're going to start off with Gareth, who's going to give us a bit of an introduction into Ultima and our relationship with Citrix and Microsoft. We're then going to be handing over to Adam from Citrix, who's going to give us Citrix's view on how Citrix and Microsoft solve challenges delivering highly performant, secure workspaces using AVD and Citrix capabilities. Then I'm going to be taking us through some practical applications as to how you can leverage Microsoft Azure for delivering your workspace solutions, and also looking at what else makes up a workspace. So some additional capabilities that Citrix bring to the table, which allow you to solve some quite significant challenges that a lot of organizations face today. And then we'll wrap up with how Ultima can help you on your journey. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Gareth, who's going to take us through Ultima and our relationship with Citrix and Microsoft.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Andy, for the quick intro there. So my name is Gareth Meyer. I'm the Commercial Operations Director at Ultima Business Solutions. So one of my responsibilities, and the reason I'm on to today's session, is to talk a bit about our partnership ecosystem, of which Citrix and both Microsoft play a significant role in our relationships, how we deliver sort of end user experience, how we deliver our services, and ultimately our managed services wrap. And so Ultima, it's no surprise that Ultima have an extensive relationship with Citrix. We are one of the only Platinum Partner Plus partner statuses, which we're very proud to have. And that's due to our extensive collaboration play and strategic partnership we have with Citrix. So that extends past the technical side, that extends past the sales side, and even furthermore, we do sit on a number of worldwide panels in strategic relations with regards to Citrix. We do have an extensive relationship. It's a long-lasting relationship. We actually have a 25 years pedigree in the workspace arena, but obviously recently we've extended our capabilities outside, and we cover off a full security wrap, as well as advanced specializations in the likes of their networking space. So, from a partnership point of view, we're significantly invested in our overarching strategic partners. We continue to do so. If I then move across to our Microsoft relationship as well, we're a gold partner across a multitude of areas within the Microsoft stack. We actually hold 13 certifications at a gold partner level, which we're very, very proud of. And if it wasn't for our a mass amount of professional services capabilities, this would not be achievable. But we continue to expand, we continue to invest. Citrix and Microsoft are very, very large strategic partner in their own sense. We do a lot of collaboration play with both organizations, and then marry up quite well when we're talking with our customers about workspace solutions today, because it's not all about the actual device. It's not all about the software you're deploying. It's about that end user experience. And obviously with recent circumstances, we have a lot of remote working going on in that space. One of the key aspects, I suppose, to talk about both Citrix and Microsoft is their dedication to cloud and their transformation that they're taking from an on-prem traditional view or aspect to deliver end-to-end experience and really focus on their cloud strategy. And both of them are very aligned with regards to Citrix sitting very nicely on the Azure platform, and obviously recent announcements and collaboration play around WVD and the Citrix Workspace. So, I think we're in a fantastic position as we enter our financial year 2021/22. I've got significant budget and further development headcount that we're focusing on both of these strategic relationships moving forward. That's not only just to strengthen our own abilities, but that's absolutely there to deliver the perfect end-to-end experience for our customer base. So I think from that point, you're in very, very good hands as we talk about two of our strat vendors here, but as well as Ultimate's core capabilities to deliver end-to-end solutions from all the way from architecture to managed services and continued support in that function. I am going to talk a little later in the session today around our adoption services. And I'm going to be asking Andy for his viewpoints as he's communicating with our customers on a day-to-day basis, how our advanced sort of adoption services are supporting that journey from the traditional on-prem into the cloud. But again, I must stress, we've got some considerable deployments that we've done in the past. We're going to hear Adam in a little bit talk about one of our strategic customers that we've very excited about. They won an innovation award, and he'll go through that a little bit more. But that was really to enhance and deliver fantastic remote working to the end users with a very, very small IT department. And that's what it's about today. It's not necessarily about headcount. It's about delivering a service that's easily manageable from two fantastic vendors we have and we're talking about today in a modern environment. Megs, if you want to go on to the next slide, if you don't mind. So talk about a bit of our journey through the relationship we've had with Citrix. We're very, very proud of our pedigree in the market today. We were lucky enough to win the EMEA Workspace Partner of the Year award in 2020, and that really helped us through recent times. The delivery, the speed, our own capabilities, working in a cohesive relationship with Citrix has allowed us to deliver sort of a non-stop end-to-end working environment for our end users, which is absolutely critical in these times. It's also allowed us as a business internally to do the same. We're a big user of what we deploy within our customers, so Citrix being core to a lot of our own application delivery methods in the cloud to our end users in absolute sort of remote secure working environments is absolutely core to what we do. And then even further to that, we were lucky enough to win Worldwide Partner of the Year. And that was due to our investment and our core strategy. As I mentioned before, it's not just about the tech itself, it's our ability to work closely with these vendors, understand their technologies and how we plug and fill those gaps with our customers' end results, end game in mind from the working point. We're massive on doing our assessments, delivering those assessments, and it's all outcome based in today's times. Next one, please, Megan. And following that, I will hand over to the likes of Andy shortly. The likes of. Oh, we're seeing a Citrix partner video. Apologies about that. I'll put myself on mute. Hopefully it works. This is technology at its best. Great, thank you, Megan. I hope you can hear me all again. So it's it's great to see Darren, the COO of Citrix Worldwide, really stressing our capabilities in that front, and the partnership that we have. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Adam at Citrix and get more of an insight.
Thanks, Gareth. I am struggling with my own technical issues now. This is what happens when you work with multiple monitors and then you decide to try and share stuff online. You have to make sure you're grabbing the right screen. Just bear with me 2 seconds. And let's hope that we get it right this time. Don't we love technology? Here we go. And as if by magic, there we go. So good morning, everybody. Gareth, Andy, thanks for inviting me along this morning to join you on this session. I was asked to come and join, Ultima as one of our Platinum Plus partners to discuss kind of, what are Citrix and Microsoft doing together with Ultima to help drive workspaces. And I thought, what better way to do that than share with you a way that we've done it with an existing customer, a strategic customer that Gareth mentioned just then. And I just want to kind of talk about this organization that we jointly work with called Azure. I'm sure I've pronounced their name wrong. I will apologize up front if I have, but you'll see with my surname, I'm used to people making apologies for pronunciation, so I will leave mine there. Now, for those that don't know, Azure are a specialist in prosthetics, biotech. They have annual revenue of about 600 million a year, spread, and they operate across over 100 offices in 23 different countries. They have quite a complex requirement. When you look at their organization, it ranges from anybody in manufacturing all the way through to scientists that are developing new prosthetic technology, and kind of they have everything in between. So from an IT perspective, it's quite a challenging environment that they have. And there's a quite a nice quote there from Bjarni Azure, which was why they chose Citrix as one of the strategic partners for them to deliver solutions to their 4,000 employees in their organization. And what I want to do now is kind of go through why they chose Citrix and Microsoft and Ultima to deliver those different solutions, and talk about what some of those solutions are. And then we'll kind of move to Andy, and he can kind of take you down into the next level about some of those things. So I'd like to introduce you to 2 fairly important people in technology, Satya Nadella and David Henshaw, the CEOs of Microsoft and Citrix, respectively. I'm not going to do a big bio plug on these, but I think it's really important to think about who Citrix and Microsoft are and why we've had this long-standing, near 29-year relationship where we have been, ISV Partner of the Year with Microsoft for pretty much every single one of those 29 years. This was a quote from Satya, and I quite like that line in there at the very last line where it says, and it puts people at the center versus devices at the center. So this is talking about Microsoft's strategic shift towards delivering their 3 core pillars to their customer base. So Microsoft Azure, Microsoft 365, and Dynamics 365. Now, this was a quote that was made by our very own David Henshaw. And again, if you marry that kind of middle paragraph there with what Satya said, you can see where our synergies exist. And that's that, our vision is one centered around the user experience. It's about people, not workloads. So this is where our 2 organizations have come together and said, look, this world's from a technology perspective, it's got really, really complex. And there's a number of different solutions that our customers need to think about to really make sure that they can be competitive and agile in their chosen business. So we looked at how do we come together and start thinking about delivering these things. So now if we bring this back to kind of Azure and what they were trying to do for their 4,000 employees, kind of Gareth mentioned it was about remote working, but actually it really went a step beyond that. It's about breaking down this barrier between traditional on-premise working and remote working. Now, we're all living through this pandemic where if I hear the phrase the new normal one more time, I think I probably will throw myself from this 15th floor that I'm sat on at the moment. But we have all accepted that we are in a world where there's a new paradigm and we need to think about how we embrace work differently. And we're all talking about hybrid work. And that was something that really come out from Azure. And they were recognized previously a couple of years ago by the World Economic Forum as being real technology evangelists. They were a technical pioneer. I think to be recognized by somebody like the WEF as being a technical pioneer shows like how forward-looking they are. And the work that they did with Ultima really was around how do we get to this hybrid place where we enable people to be their best selves, to work in the best way they can, so they can really drive their organization forward. And I did write down a nice quote that I got from the guys at Azure, and their mantra is enabling life without enabling life without limitations. And in IT, they've embraced that, and it's enabling IT without limitations. So we bring this partnership of Citrix and Microsoft together with Ultima, so we could start saying, right, well, actually, if we have Microsoft with these pillars of Azure and Microsoft 365, and I'm hoping you all understand what they are. I'm not here to present around Microsoft solutions. I think, Microsoft has some great productivity solutions sat within Microsoft 365, whether it's Windows 10 or Office 365. And what Azure has enabled them to do is really deliver them in a new kind of exciting way by kind of that modern desktop experience. And then from a Citrix perspective, we think about this concept of Workspace, this place that you go to consume all of the things that you need to do your job and complete all of your processes. But from an IT perspective, it provides a veneer between users and the complexity of IT so that you can simplify that user experience while providing IT with the flexibility to have the agility to make decisions around things like migration and cost appropriateness behind the scenes. And then there's a whole heap of technology that sits in between. From Azure's perspective, this is, they looked at and leveraged almost all of the technology that I've got listed on the slide here. Obviously, as Gareth said, we are the leader in virtual apps and desktops. That is something that is key to the solution that we have driven within Azure. And that partly was driven around Azure Virtual Desktop. And for those that haven't seen in the press recently, going back about 3 weeks ago, Microsoft rebranded Windows Virtual Desktop, WVD, to Azure Virtual Desktop, AVD. You might hear us switch in and out during this presentation. It takes some time for new branding to sink in, but I thought it might be a good place for us to start with, actually, what is Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop? Why was Azure looking at Azure Virtual Desktop? And then why did they choose a Citrix and Microsoft solution to deliver all of their workspace solutions, including what they're trying to do within Azure Virtual Desktop? So those that don't know, I'll break this down into kind of three key areas of what Azure Virtual Desktop is. First of all, it is a cloud-only, cloud-focused, lightweight control plane from Microsoft that enables you to broker virtual applications and desktops only within Azure. Then we have these new workloads. And the key one, and this is what most of my customers are looking at and what I believe is interesting to Azure, is this notion of Windows 10 multi-user. And what Windows 10 multi-user enables us to do is think about Windows 10 kind of operating as like a server, that you can install a desktop operating
Adam, if you can hear us, I think we've just lost your audio.
Megan, sorry, I don't think Adam can hear us. Do you want to take control and move over to Andy? And I think best is if we move back to Adam. Yeah.
Yep. Bear with me, I'll just jump in. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen. So again, apologies there. I think Adam's just had a few technical difficulties. I hopefully will be able to switch back to him. If not, perhaps we can kind of recap on just some of the value add that Citrix deliver on top of AVD. Let's move that out of the way. Okay, so a lot of customers are looking at public cloud as a way to deliver certain capabilities. So what I really wanted to do was just have a look at how some practical applications that we see commonly across a lot of customers. And a lot of customers are looking at AVD. I think it's front of mind for a lot of organizations because there's a lot of marketing activity around it. Obviously, it's a new solution that Microsoft are providing, and obviously there's a lot of interest for customers as to how they can start to make use of some of these benefits that they have available to them right now. So what we're going to do is just walk through some common use cases that we see a lot in our customers where they're considering utilizing public cloud for delivering user workspaces. So one of the main ones is the ability to right-size workloads. So one of the common challenges that a lot of organizations have, especially when they're looking at delivering user workspaces, is there's a couple of kind of primary requirements that people will have. Firstly, everything's got to be secure. And secondly, but not any less important, is that it's got to deliver a great user experience. Now, one of the challenges that a lot of organizations have faced in the last year is that there's been some fairly immediate additional requirements that they need to deliver new capabilities or services to their users. So if we look back at kind of early last year, one of the main challenges that a lot of organizations has been the need to deliver additional collaboration tools into their environment. Now, doing this within the constraints of what they have can be really challenging, especially when you look at Microsoft Teams, which, with all due credit to Microsoft, it's a fantastic piece of technology, but it's not the most lightweight solution in the world. So a lot of organizations were faced with the need to deliver some fairly resource-intensive new capabilities into their environment. Now, if you're running an environment hosted on premises, that can present some significant challenges. So, if all of a sudden you're having to add additional load into your environment, not everyone has that additional capacity available to be able to deliver that without compromising on performance. So, one of the real great capabilities of public cloud is the ability to choose your desired level of performance and have that level of flexibility. So if you compare it to an on-premises solution where you effectively need to try and predict, and if we look at a typical customer, they're going to have a 3 to 5 year life cycle for any hardware that they're purchasing to put into their data center. So effectively what you need to do is try and predict what are your demands going to be in 5 years' time. And as much as we all like to feel that we've got our finger on the pulse of technology and we've got an idea as to what's coming, it's really challenging to ask somebody to commit to a fixed amount of resource to be able to deliver an excellent user experience in 5 years' time. With public cloud, obviously, the pay-as-you-go approach and the ability to pivot in terms of the performance level that you're giving your users gives you a lot of additional flexibility in terms of being able to ensure that you're giving that excellent level of user experience. Probably the next most critical capability of public cloud in combination with Citrix specifically is the additional to consume that public cloud resource for additional burst capacity. So again, the last 18 months there's been some fantastic lessons learned, and there's been some real eye-opening experiences in terms of exactly how quickly people can scale. We've seen customers where they've gone from kind of very small tactical deployments to very significant sizes in terms of capacity and users in a very short period of time. Being able to deliver that within the constraints of an on-premises environment would have been virtually impossible, especially when you're in a position where the supply chain has pretty much dried up in terms of actually being able to buy additional compute and resources to be able to host those. So the ability to rapidly scale, I think, has proven its value in the last 18 months, and a lot of customers have really made use of those capabilities to be able to significantly scale their deployments without the need to have long lead times for hardware to come in, without the need to worry about, well, what happens when we don't need this anymore? And that's a critical consideration for burst capacity, is that there's a need to scale up, but at some point there's going to be potentially the need to scale down as well, and how you can pivot to that. Another consideration is decoupling from on-premises. I think most organizations are looking at some form of hybrid working as a solution for how their users are going to work going forwards. Now, when your users no longer sit full-time in an office, the open question is effectively, do data centers add a lot of value? Having those workloads kind of near your users, is that still an applicable model going forwards when you can't guarantee the location of your users? So being able to decouple where your workloads sit from your data center and being able to place them in the right location to deliver the best performance for users. A lot of organizations, depending on their operating model, may prefer a more OpEx-based approach to how they pay for services. Now, this doesn't necessarily apply to all customers, and there can be some financial benefits to being able to commit to certain amounts of resources with things like reserved instances, or buying additional licenses to support hybrid use benefits for potentially some infrastructure services. But the pay-as-you-go model, again, kind of like aligns very nicely with the flexibility that a lot of organizations need to be able to deliver an adequate level of performance and the right capabilities for their business. Global reach is a really interesting proposition. So depending on kind of how your business operates, you may be very UK-centric. A lot of organizations we work with at the moment may have different offices kind of in various locations around the world, and they may either operate a string of data centers in different geos to be able to provide local services for those users, or, which we see quite commonly, is they may have central locations where they deliver those critical services from. Leveraging Microsoft Azure for hosting your workloads gives you the flexibility of being able to deploy into pretty much any geo into most countries globally. So the network of Azure data center locations is expanding pretty much on a quarterly basis. So there's a fairly rapid cadence in terms of Azure expanding their footprint globally. Now, you don't have to worry about spinning up data centers in particular locations. What you need to focus on is, once we've got our footprint in Azure, we then have the ability to be able to consume Azure's global reach. You can deploy your workload, you can deploy your infrastructure in the best location to be able to deliver services to users wherever they are in the world. And typically we find that even in terms of network connectivity, so one of the areas that Adam was touching on was being able to deliver consistent network experience and high performance connectivity into public cloud. One of the things we find quite beneficial is that Microsoft actually operate one of the largest private networks globally. In terms of connectivity and performance, the sooner you can get traffic into the Azure WAN, the better your user experience is going to be. And with Microsoft's global reach, you will have a point of presence for Azure, a front door to get into their private WAN, very near to where your users sit. So looking at how your network traffic flows for your organization, even just adopting Azure to provide that backbone connectivity can provide some real immediate performance benefits in terms of reducing latency and being able to have greater assurance in terms of bandwidth between geographically disparate locations. So there's some kind of real benefits to be found there. I think one of the very popular areas that we see for public cloud is around delivering low-cost DR or BCP. Now, this tends to be the number one area where a lot of organizations will look for cost efficiencies. DR or BCP, there's very few organizations that will operate 100% DR capacity. So typically, if there's a major incident, then there may be some reduced capacity available for kind of critical use, or there may be some compromises in terms of performance and user experience. Now, with Microsoft Azure and public cloud, you have the ability, as we mentioned with the burst capacity, you can rapidly scale. So you can have a very small footprint in public cloud, which you can then rapidly scale to deliver that 100% DR capacity, that business continuity. Now, I think with the events of the last 18 months, business continuity is definitely a front of mind topic, and having the facilities to be able to deliver that 100% capacity in the event that you may not be able to get into the data center anymore. If there's an event that happens, how do you recover from that? Public cloud gives you the capability to be able to provide the assurance to the business that there's going to be resource, there's going to be capacity, there's going to be services available to deliver that business continuity solution. With collaboration, I think one of the great things is that with workloads running in Microsoft Azure, you have the best performance accessing Office 365 services. There's a big push for a lot of organizations to align with M365 licensing, so most customers are in a position where they're consuming and increasing adoption of Office 365. So having workloads running in Microsoft Azure is going to give you the best performance in terms of accessing these Office 365 services. Also from endpoints with SD-WAN capabilities, giving people that optimized network route into Azure is also going to improve that performance. And like I say, once your traffic is in Azure, you are in a very high performance network environment. So your user experience is typically going to improve regardless of what you're trying to do. And looking at modern management, I think kind of public cloud is a great eye opener for organizations to revisit how it is they operate and support and deliver user workloads. Now, most organizations will have some legacy processes they support in terms of how they maintain that on-premises environment. Moving into public cloud gives the opportunity to revisit how you deliver, how you support, how you operate those types of environments. There's a big push towards more automation. I think there's one of the very popular considerations is using tools such as infrastructure as code and a lot of modern management capabilities for supporting these workloads. So it's a great opportunity to look at modernizing and improving how you operationally support these types of environments. So there's a great opportunity for people to adopt new capabilities and blueprints as to how they deliver and support these types of workloads. So Adam did touch on it. I just wanted to quickly go over Windows 10 Multisession. I think Windows 10 Multisession is possibly the most interesting thing about AVD, and there's some really great capabilities in there I just wanted to quickly go over. So main problem with Windows 10 Multisession at the moment, it's ULA restricted to only run in Microsoft Azure. So you can't run Windows 10 Multisession in an on-premises environment. It's only available to run in Microsoft Azure. Technically, it can be done, but it's ULA restricted. So unless you want to fall foul of Microsoft, it's unfortunately platform restricted. So it's only available for Windows license usage. So if you have Azure Virtual Desktop benefits by virtue of having remote desktop services CALs with software assurance, unfortunately, Windows 10 Multisession isn't going to be available for you. If you have Windows E3 or M365 E3 or higher, then you do have the rights to run Windows 10 Multisession in Microsoft Azure. So the fundamentals of Windows 10 Multisession is that it enables multiple users to share a single Windows 10 instance. So rather than looking at the legacy way that we did it, which is take a server operating system, enable remote desktop services on there, and then we can carve that operating system up and provide a desktop environment or published applications for multiple users, we have the ability to provide multiple user sessions on a Windows 10 operating system. So rather than having to make a server operating system look like Windows 10, we have the ability to actually use the desktop operating system to provide this capability. So we've got the same benefits of user density that we'd have with a traditional remote desktop services on server OS. One of the other benefits is that we don't have a requirement for remote desktop services CALs with this model. So the usage for Windows 10 Multisession is covered as part of, as I say, Windows E3 or M365 E3 or higher, along with some additional education licensing. So Windows 10 Multisession is available from Azure Marketplace. It comes with and without Office 365 built in, and the latest releases have got the FS Logics agent included, which again is another very popular solution component which many customers are adopting. Multisession specifically includes a load of fixes and optimizations that are very specific to VDI. So generally, as a recommendation, if you're doing any user workloads in Azure, your first point of consideration should be Windows 10 Multisession, because there are some performance benefits and optimizations in the OS that aren't available in standard Windows 10. So that's my bit on general user workloads in Microsoft Azure. What I wanted to move into is what's next. So I think hopefully everyone who's listening has a pretty good handle on the benefits of centralized resources. So being able to centrally deliver applications and desktops, that's kind of a known construct. I think we're mostly familiar with it. So I wanted to briefly discuss legacy versus modern. So if we look at enterprise application management, Gareth touched on earlier, most organizations are going to have somewhere between like 5 and 100 applications. Probably most people are going to be at the higher end of that scale. Some organizations are going to be even higher. I know some companies I've worked with have had in the order of 400, 500, 600 applications that they manage and deliver to users. That's a lot. That's a lot to take care of. And I think what we're seeing is that enterprises are really good at adopting new, and they're very bad at getting rid of old. So we have a very long tail of applications that we need to support. But at the same time, enterprises are also really good at adopting new. So there's a big push in most industries to start focusing more on business value. So rather than owning and operating application services, there's more of an appetite to adopt SaaS solutions where they can effectively just consume the services they need, gain the capabilities without having to manage the operating system. Now, most of these applications, as we term them modern applications, they're going to be universally accessible, but they do introduce some new challenges. So if you take a typical SaaS application, there are some real considerations that most organizations kind of need solutions for. How do we secure it? How do we deliver a great user experience consistently? And how do we deliver and guarantee that level of performance? And again, these are kind of primary challenges across everything and not just legacy apps. So this is what I really want to focus on, is there needs to be a solution for more than the classic Win32 applications. I think that we have a very well understood solution for being able to deliver those securely, but the landscape is changing and there is much more now than just legacy apps. So we've also got on top of those challenges, the challenges of hybrid working. So we have many organizations are facing the challenges of they've got people working out of the office. Give someone a laptop device, they're going to be doing stuff on it. Now, it's not with bad intent, but people are going to be using Facebook. They're going to be kind of booking their kind of staycations in Cornwall. They're going to be going off, and this usage is termed as unsanctioned apps. So these are applications that users are using, the services that users are using that aren't provisioned by the company. And that usage is largely allowed, but isn't necessarily controlled. We've also got the expectation that the number of unmanaged or BYO devices is going to significantly increase in the near future. So as more people adopt flexible working and choosing their place of work, you need to be able to securely deliver these services and capabilities to a plethora of devices. Some of them managed, some of them may not. And there's a challenge of how do you deliver that connectivity? When you're delivering applications from the cloud, connectivity is absolutely critical in terms of performance. So how are you going to be able to deliver that to users? And again, this is not an office-centric problem. This is a user-centric problem. How do you deliver that predictable connectivity to your user? So Gartner have the concept of secure access service edge. So this is effectively a approach to how you can secure your users. So SASE is effectively a convergence of networking solutions, so your kind of SD-WAN, cloud firewall providers, and network security like secure web gateway, cloud access security brokers, and zero trust network access. Now, SASE, from Gartner's perspective, should be a solution that you can buy from a single vendor as an integrated service, rather than having lots of tactical solutions to deliver these capabilities. So I want to have a quick run through kind of where Citrix meets SASE. So there's some kind of key capabilities, some of which are existing that you're going to be aware of, and some that are new. So Adam's already mentioned SD-WAN. So Citrix are very established in the SD-WAN space, providing and giving that assured level of connectivity, giving highly resilient, highly performant connectivity to all of your applications. Secure workspace access is some of which you're going to be familiar of. So your virtual apps and desktops fall under this category. But secure workspace access also gives you zero trust access to sanctioned applications. So these may be sanctioned SaaS applications. These may be internal web applications that you want to provide to your users. Now, secure workspace access allows you to deliver all of these modern applications, but with security controls wrapped around them, giving you the visibility and control over how people interact and access these services. So giving you assurance that regardless of the device the user is connecting from, you have a consistent security overlay to protect your data and also to protect your users. So we've got the ability to provide browser isolation. So if it's a particularly sensitive app, don't run it on the user endpoint, use it in a isolated browser. So you can provide that level of separation from your corporate data and potentially an untrusted device. Citrix Analytics for Security will give you continual visibility of how people are using these applications. So you've got the assurance that you can see what is happening, and the ability to actually have visibility of that access gives you a far greater level of control. Now, one of the new capabilities that Citrix have introduced is secure internet access. So without drilling into too much detail, secure internet access gives you effectively the ability to secure everything else. Now, that sounds pretty broad, but secure internet access is a combination of capabilities. So we've got secure web gateway, firewalls, we've got cloud access security brokers, DLP protection, sandboxing. We've got the ability to run all user traffic through 10 different security engines to detect any malicious traffic. We've got the ability to provide insights into new threats or kind of zero-day attacks that may be affecting customers. So there's a lot of capabilities combined under secure internet access, but effectively secure internet access is about securing the everything else. So the unsanctioned applications that users are going to access quite normally. So it gives you that additional layer of protection to make sure that anything the user is doing from the device is being protected. So with secure workspace access, we've got the ability to securely deliver internal applications. So by internal, we're talking sanctioned, things that are provisioned by you to the users. With secure internet access, we have the ability to securely deliver and protect access to the internet and SaaS applications. So that'll also improve performance due to peering arrangements with secure internet access. So it's going to give your users high performance access to any SaaS applications by virtue of improved connectivity. So Citrix Citrix's approach to SASE is effectively quite a strong proposition. So Citrix is one of the few vendors which has solutions for all of the requirements of Gartner's SASE model. So under a unified management construct, we have secure internet access, securing everything. We have secure workspace access to give users secure access to sanctioned applications, things that you want to give them. All of this is underpinned by Citrix Analytics, giving you visibility into security and behavior analytics, and also performance. And we have the connectivity problem solved with Citrix SD-WAN, giving you optimized connections, high performance, highly resilient connections to all these network-based services. So with Citrix's approach to SASE, we've got the ability to eliminate silos, we've got the ability to see and block threats, we've got the ability to deliver the right access to the right applications for the users. We've delivered actionable insights with context from Citrix Analytics, and we deliver the best app performance with the best reliability with Citrix SD-WAN. So in combination, we've got the ability to maximize productivity and minimize risk to your users, adding a consistent layer of protection. So key takeaways very quickly, because I appreciate we're running short on time. So many great use cases for public cloud workloads. So it should definitely be a point of consideration if you're currently on premises and you're not using public cloud. Most customers will consider hybrid, and this is one of the areas where Citrix adds real value to AVD, is the ability to support those hybrid workloads and have on-premises and cloud supported under one pane of glass. But again, another consideration might be burst capacity or DR and BCP. So just have a look at what use cases might be a good fit for public cloud. Really important to ensure you optimize operational processes. Otherwise, if you just box shift what you're doing on-prem to public cloud, that's probably going to be less than ideal. So it's definitely a good inflection point to review how it is that you deliver these services. And for most use cases, Windows 10 Multisession is recommended, or even generally just using marketplace images, because there are fixes that are introduced into the Azure Marketplace OSs that are not present in other media sources. And just briefly looking at next-gen workspaces. So it's really important to understand a workspace is way more than just legacy apps. I think we mostly have well-defined solutions for legacy apps. The scope of everything else is only going to grow. So we need to make sure we've got reliable processes to be able to deliver those capabilities with security and performance to make sure that we're giving the best user experience. And have a look at what tools you've got. Are you too data center centric at the moment? Are you leveraging cloud security products? So these are all considerations looking at hybrid workforce. So looking at SASE as a model to adopt, it provides a consistent security overlay to all application access on all devices. So it's definitely something that you should be aware of in terms of what the candidate capabilities are that you should consider adopting. And Citrix are in a very strong position to deliver on all key SASE capabilities with existing tools such as the Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktops and the Citrix Workspace, and with the new capabilities such as SIA and Secure Workspace Access, all delivered from a single vendor. So with that, I think that's all I have. So if I can, I would like to hand over to Gareth, who's going to help you understand how we can help you deliver all this.
Oh, thank you, Andy. I don't know if Adam's still on. No.
I am, Gareth. If I can just take 30 seconds just to apologize, everybody. I think we just demonstrated technology at its absolute worst then. Everything worked except my audio completely failed me. So I do want to share my apologies. And just to really reinforce everything that Andy's just said, there were some great nuggets from Andy in there. I did have 2 slides left that I wanted to complete, which was kind of just that extension of how we move beyond virtualization in a workspace to thinking about all of the different types of applications and introducing kind of SASE as part of Zero Trust. So, and I really appreciate you picking up and really covering that for us. So again, my apologies, Gareth. I'll pass back to you now, and I'll be around for if there's any questions that come through.
Excellent. Look, we understand things are difficult, right? So no problem at all. So one of the last points I wanted to just discuss was our investment, our further investment, and how we support customers in their journey to cloud. It was a decision we made as an organization roughly 18 months ago as part of an extension to our Microsoft Fast Track team, which obviously was derived to help customers on their journey through Office 365, get those Exchange environments off perpetual-based license agreements and move them to consumption-based licensing. And we were lucky enough to be invited by Citrix to form part of a worldwide panel and really deep dive and understand into the complexity of cloud migration. Off the back of that, we created a very bespoke team supported by the likes of Andy, who you've just heard of, our professional services department, as well as our managed services department, for real in-depth support as customers look to maximize their investment. And we're continuing to do so. It's not. People aren't unsure of the fact Ultima are moving and transitioning quite quickly into the cloud market space. We've invested significantly in DevOps teams, as well as our own cloud-specific divisions within our organization. And most recently with the additional acquisition of Jam, that's just after midnight by Ultima, that extends our reach into the cloud significantly because they are born in the cloud environment organization, and it's allowed to even expand our core capabilities. But one of the key aspects is Citrix moves most recently into a subscription only model, and it's made certain customers very nervous about their on-prem, their acquisitions. We're not looking at it as such that if you've made perpetual-based licensing agreements and you've made those acquisitions, it's something to really utilize and expand on. There are lots of programs out there that Ultima take advantage of and Citrix offer to our customer base, but it's about getting the core cloud success management team in supporting you and getting you to understand key benefits of the entire suite to make sure you're taking that business investment back to the rest of your board and explaining why you've made those. And that team is on site prepared to help at any given chance and opportunity they can. That's sort of bi-monthly involvement. They project manage a lot of the areas, coincide with our project management team, and really help that seamless journey. And I think, Andy, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. What are the key concerns as customers are moving for that on-prem into the cloud? I mean, it is about hybrid, and we're very versatile and we can support, but, I'd love your view in a simple line as to how you feel customers are adopting that cloud-centric journey.
I think there's a lot of interest. I think a lot of people, or a lot of organizations may not understand the best way to start. And I think making sure that you've got the right operational processes in place to support an effective deployment in public cloud is really important from the get-go. And I think that's where we can add a lot of value, because we've been delivering user workspace solutions in public clouds for many years now. So we've been through the trials and tribulations and kind of understand where some of the pitfalls may lie. So we can kind of really help put you on the best foot to make sure that you're going to be successful from the start. And like I say, there's a lot of appetite for adopting modern management, and that's one of the real areas of strength that Ultima have, in that we are making significant investment in adopting modern approaches to how we manage public cloud workloads. So there's significant investments in kind of DevOps style deployments and kind of automation solutions to make sure that you can deliver a operationally effective environment in public cloud with cost optimization. I think that's one of the really important things. Is it's very easy to do public cloud badly and cost yourself a fair amount of money. However, I think with the right approach and with the right processes in place, public cloud can actually deliver far more value than any cost that it would incur. So it's certainly a real area of growth that we're seeing a lot of customers moving to. And obviously that's where we come in with our success programs and our professional services to be able to kind of help guide you along that path.
No, fantastic, Andy. You know, that's great insight from you, because you are part of the field team. You know, you're in front of those customers and helping them through that journey. You know, one question. You know, I think Adam, you know, you got cut off midway through conversation, which is a pity. You know, OSA, Andy, when I managed to speak with their leadership team during the process when they made that decision to move from a traditional environment into the cloud, you know, was absolutely key. One of the comments they made was, we need to be moving forward, otherwise we're going to be left behind. And I think that comes, you know, with strength and word as to why they did that. And it's been a very, very successful deployment from our side, as well as Citrix and Microsoft on that front. But, you know, Andy, thank you very much for your time today. I'll let you close today's session. I know we're going to Q&A if there are any questions, but I also agree we're pressed for time.
Excellent. Thanks very much for that, Gareth. So hopefully that's given you a good overview in terms of some of the possibilities in terms of how you can deliver next-gen workspaces. It sounds very futuristic, but these are fairly immediate challenges. These are challenges that are facing a lot of customers, and there are solutions to these problems. And I think Citrix and Microsoft jointly are very strongly positioned to be able to deliver a comprehensive solution that can solve challenges around hybrid working, about delivering high performance environments, and especially around delivering that consistent security, which is certainly front of mind for many organizations. So I think we are pretty much at time, so I want to be respectful of people's time. So I'm not sure that we have any kind of time to go into Q&A, but what I would encourage you to do, if you do have any questions, if you want some more information about some of these capabilities, like I say, there are a lot of new things, there are a lot of new considerations, and we're all here to help guide you down the path. So if there's any follow-up questions, do feel free to just reach out to your account manager. We can direct those questions to the best people to make sure we can give you some kind of practical advice and kind of help you understand how you can make your way down this path. So with that, I'll wrap up. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. I hope that's been useful for you. And I don't know, Adam, have you got any closing comments?
I haven't, Andy. Great job. Thank you very much for inviting us along. And again, apologies for the technical challenges.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Adam. The bits we did see in here were very good, so thanks a lot for that. Brilliant. Right, well, thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate your time joining, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you.